happy that I am able to come live today to our first masterclass. This is my first masterclass that I'm going to be sharing with you. Um, so you know how to start a plan to teach Spanish at home. Today I'm going to be uncovering the insights from my consistent plan that I have used with my own children for almost over 14 years now. Um, and I will show you the story behind and what I have done to accomplish the full spoken language at home, and how I am trying to duplicate the same thing with my students. Um, and well, I hope you enjoy and you learn a lot from this live masterclass. And if you have questions, please let me know. Um, just wait until the end of the presentation um, so you can ask any questions you might have, okay? So, as we are live right now, I'm just going to share my screen with you, okay? So, here we go. I'm gonna share my screen with you, and we are going to start our presentation. Um, Let me see. Present. Okay. And I'll just put it myself over here. I'm not sure if you can see me. Let me just double check how it's looking. Doo -doo -doo -doo. Okay, so let's start today. The presentation is about build your own Spanish plan for a full year. And as I said, I'm uncovering the insights from a consistent plan that helped me to raise my children speaking the language at home. What you are going to learn here is the strategy behind how I conquered this, how I had this outcome with my 4 children. So we're going to go through 5 phases. The phase 1 is the commitment and the discipline. Phase 2 is when you discover your child's unique way of learning. Phase 3 is start the process of regular spoken language. Phase 4, when you assemble your plan. And phase 5 is when you review, evaluate, and repeat the process. So, now settle in and stick around if you are a bilingual mom who is struggling to get your children learn Spanish, as you don't know exactly how to do it or where to start or how to keep moving forward. Maybe you are a mom who are not doing enough to practice a language with your little ones at home, or you might be a little rusty with your spoken language and fear that your child will not learn it properly. Maybe you think you're going to run out of ideas, or you are running out of ideas and material to keep learning and teaching new vocabulary to your child. Maybe you are losing a battle once your child has started school and they start refusing the language. Maybe you need consistency, but you have no idea how to do it. Something else is that your children do not see the importance to keep learning, as they do not see more children using it as well. If you are feeling alone, trying to move a mountain on your own, as you are the only source for the language at home with your children. And the last, if you do not have a plan to follow that supports your efforts. Now, stay until the end for any Q&A, any questions you might have. I'm going to be here to answer any questions you have. And before we dive into this plan, here's a little story on what qualifies me to deliver this presentation. Some of you might be thinking, who am I? Well, I am Anna Jaworski. I am the founder. I am the mother of 4. I'm a veteran's wife, and I'm the founder and CEO of Spanish Playdates. After my first child was born, I knew that in order to share my roots with my baby, We both needed to communicate in the same language. This was the way I found my heart could connect more while sharing traditions and stories on a deeper level. Now, through trial and error, and by reading and searching ways to make things happen, I developed a specific pattern of using the language as a parent. Now, it became so effective that I started implementing the same techniques with my other three children, making this process real and effective. Now, once my first child was about 2 years old, I wanted her to have more interactions with the Spanish-speaking families, which were very few at that time. So in order for my child to have more exposure, I had to create my own situations where the language was going to be spoken. As you can see here, a couple of pictures. Here are my little ones when they were little. And you see me here inside of a house. These first play dates were with friends in houses. And I started teaching them Spanish in order to have the language being spoken around my own children. As I did not find enough people in my own circumstances, I decided to invite friends with toddlers and preschoolers to have play dates so I could teach them Spanish and my child didn't feel alone in this journey. That is when I started inviting friends to a Spanish play date at my house or at the park, or I was going to parks. Once these little children started learning Spanish with me, I was invited to teach at moms groups, in churches, libraries, bookstores, and that's how Spanish playdates with Miss Anna became a thing in Cincinnati, where I live at that time. Then I decided to make it official, and Spanish playdates became a brand. Since then, I have worked with hundreds of children. I started teaching Spanish in different preschools and daycares in the area, and my program came to life with a program I created called My Spanish Corner that was completely designed to teach Spanish to non-native speakers. I opened my own language school, which I call Spanish Playdate Studios, and I started offering classes to different levels and ages. Once COVID hit, the world and I had to make the decision to close the studio in order to keep serving the families online, which is the way how I have been doing it for about 2 years. From then to now, I have been teaching and duplicating my strategies with my children and my students for over 14 years. Now, why I have decided to start working with mommies directly? Simply because through the years, I always heard the same struggles and challenges I once had. And all of those are due to consistency, discipline, and a plan to follow. Now see, I went from a struggling bilingual mom to not knowing how to raise bilingual children, to a thriving, confident mom teaching the language consistently at home so that I could duplicate the same process with the rest of my children for the years to come. Now, this allowed me to teach Spanish to hundreds of children using the same strategies. What I started to do was duplicating with my own students. Now, I do truly believe that the consistency, regular exposure, and a couple of techniques and rules in place, any mom can do it too, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing this strategy in this masterclass. The strategy that truly changed my children's bilingual outcome. Are you ready? Are you ready to do the same? Give me a ready in the chat by having this blueprint at your fingertips. Imagine where your language journey at home could be in a year. This is like a fast pass to the longings that you might have while sharing the language at home. Let's start for the art and the science behind. This is a mix of both. The plan has a strategic formula to create a long-term Spanish learner and a Spanish teacher at home. Because you, the mother, and the child are involved in this formula. See? Is this how I make it? I made it happen at home. You become the teacher. You become that educator. Now, this art and science, as I mentioned before, has 5 phases. And phase number 1 is commitment and discipline. When you commit to do it, it is exactly that, a parent's decision to make it happen. And then, once you decide that you are going to do it, you have to be disciplined. And a disciplined, not like a discipline like you have to do this at the gym because it is part of your regular workout. No, it is something that you are going to command yourself to do every single day. You have to tell yourself this is happening no matter what. Then it comes to phase number 2. In this phase number 2, you are going to discover your child's way of learning. Finding your child's learning style predominance is kind of a key point when you are trying to connect and bond with your child in this journey of teaching the language. You might have noticed that your child likes to maybe listen to more music or see more videos or play more with activities that keeps him dancing and moving. So you have to decide and you have to understand which is the predominance for your child, because that is how he or she engages and gets the information from the outside world. Once you have discovered that, find the vehicle of engagement and encouragement that your child responds to. So this is something that just mommy knows, okay? After you see how you are going to engage your child and how you are going to encourage your child, because at this point you have understood how he or she is learning, then you are going to pursue to the connection and you are going to look for the cooperation based on those two, the previous one. So you can see here some children dancing, others doing more things, others reading some books. What happens next? Once you have these 2 things in place and you have kind of worked through the process of understanding where you are at, where your child is at, then you will start the process of the spoken language. Now, to be able to help your child to speak the language, you have to recognize your particular situation. And I have placed here 3 cases that I usually see with all my students and the people that I have worked with. Case number 1 is when your child understands the language but doesn't want to speak it. Then what we do in these cases is that you have to mirror the Spanish word and ask for repetition. That is the technique that you have to apply inside of these cases. Number 2, if your child understands and speaks the language, but your child needs to acquire more vocabulary because you are stuck into the numbers and letters and ABCs, and you want to go farther with that, then you can speak the new vocabulary to your child and ask for repetition. Then is when you actively have to interact with more spoken language, more vocabulary, intentionally. And number 3, if you are just going to start the process of teaching the language, then you have to use a technique for transitioning by using either sign language, using flashcards, and of course repetition, because the repetition is going to help them memorize and understand the concepts around. So those are the 3 cases that I have seen in my own teaching journey with the children that come to me. Some understand but don't speak it. Some understand and speak it, but they need more information to start learning more. And the ones who are just starting, the beginners, then you have to transition with different techniques: sign language, flashcards, and repetition. Now, this is going to help you start the spoken language, right? Okay, let's go to number 4. Number 4 is assembling your plan. Now that you know what your child's style of learning predominance is, now that you have started the process of the spoken language with those techniques that we talked about in the last slide, um, now that you have transitioned into the everyday Spanish, right, because you made the decision to do it, now you can map out a plan. Once you have these 3 phases in place, then you start mapping out week by week what you're going to be doing with your child. And I say week by week so you don't get overwhelmed thinking about a full year, because it's a lot of information and a lot of steps that you have to follow. So we are going to just chunk it in 1 week. We're just going to focus in 1 week. Now, you want to map out the plan for your child depending on your child's age. Okay, so you might have a baby who is up to 12 months old. You might have a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5, 6 years old. Okay, this is the early learning stage, right? You will have to map out this plan knowing what kind of activities you have to use with each child, because it depends and it's according to their age. You are going to have an understanding and having clues of on what to do for each stage, because this is very helpful when you are writing your individual plan. With the babies, you will have to sing more and read baby books. With the 1-year-old, you will have to start doing more physical activities and exercises. 2, 3, 4, and 5, then it's more hands-on because they are capable of following instructions for little periods of time, but you are able to start moving forward according to that age and stage. Now, what else do you have to consider when you are mapping out your plan? There are a lot of things that you can use to make it happen, right? So what are your tools in this case? You're going to be using books, songs, crafts, activities, games, maybe workbooks if they are a little older. You might have some printable material. You might have a live class that you are taking your child to. You might have recorded classes. You can meet up to play with friends who speak the language and with families who also speak the language. Um, you will have to set up a time where you can play at home with your children. You can have movie time, and you have to use also intentional questions and phrases that you want your child to start mastering during the week. So those are things that you are going to be putting inside of your plan, okay? Now let's think about one theme per week, any kind of theme. This is how I have done it with my own children and how I teach the language to my students. I always have a theme by week, and that theme is going to be like the main source from where the information is going to start, being fluent inside of the class. I just share with you right now one of the plans that I have for the season, the winter season. I have put it in 3 months, and each month has 4 weeks. So for example, week number 1, you can work with the thing snowman. So anything that you do through that week questions, books, activities, workbooks, music, everything has to be around that theme. The second week, polar animals. The third week, five senses. The following week, feelings, and so on. So I'm showing you exactly what is the plan that I have for the winter season. You can do something similar, or you can select a theme that you want to work with your child. If you want to work with Valentine's theme, the whole week can be Valentine's related. And you will use all this information in Spanish to be able to help your child acquire the language. Now, once you have selected the theme, it is very important that you are intentional about the vocabulary that you are going to be using with your child. So I'm showing you here a little screenshot of the program that we have for each single week. For example, this is August, week 1, lesson 1. We are working with monsters or monstruos graciosos, right? So for the same week, we have two classes. One that is monstruos graciosos, and we're working about cabeza, hombros, rodillas, pies. And the following class is also monstruos graciosos, which is the same theme. And then we're working with muchos dientes and pocos dientes. So you have to be intentional of what kind of information you can gather from that theme that you selected. Now that you have the theme, you start making little, let's say little tabs of what kind of vocabulary you're gonna use. In this case, we have monstruos graciosos, sopla, which means blow, because in this activity we are blowing. So I want my children, my students, to be able to recognize what sopla means. Cabeza, hombros, rodillas, pies. And maybe you are already understanding that cabeza, hombros, rodillas, pies, you can use the song, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. It goes. You're going to start making, mixing this kind of information in Spanish. And then you will have material. Try to have material ready for the week so you know exactly what you're going to be doing with your children. Use the same commands. Be intentional of using the same vocabulary during the week. Be intentional on how to recognize if they are learning that vocabulary. And how do you find out? You ask questions about what you have been working with them. ¿Quieres jugar con, in this case, the monster? ¿Dónde está your monster? ¿Dónde está? Or show me your craft, right? And let's talk about it. You're very intentional of that little activity that you have worked with. Perfect. Now, we go to the next section, which is building the plan for the week. As I told you, you can choose any theme. In this case, I just place here dinosaurs. Select from 10 to 30 minutes a day to work with your child. Just dedicate that time with your child to make it happen, to make the language happen. I just place a little Monday through Sunday calendar. And then you can say, okay, on Monday I'm going to read a book. On Tuesday I'm going to do a craft. I'm going to sing with my child. On Wednesday I found an activity, a worksheet regarding dinosaurs. I'm going to work it with them. On Thursday I have a game. I have some dinosaurs. I can start putting blocks and the dinosaurs on top. On Friday we're going to watch a movie or watch a video on YouTube, or you can watch it on Disney. You can watch the Good Dinosaur in Spanish, something related to the same theme. On Saturday, we're going to be playing with our friends. If you happen to have friends who speak Spanish, go and make an appointment and say, well, can we go and play for a little bit? Maybe we can just come for an hour and play, and I'm bringing the dinosaurs, right? So we can play. Now, when you have play dates, this is something that it's kind of funny, but I learned it the hard way. When I started Spanish playdates, my intention was speak the language with whoever already spoke Spanish. But you have to sit down with your children. You have to sit down to play with them. Because by themselves, they're going to run to Spanish. I mean, they're going to run to English. They're just going to start speaking English or any other language they are learning around. So you have to, when you have a play date, sit down with them. Bring the Play-Doh, do the activity with them, play with them in Spanish. Once you have done it, and then you say, okay, now you can talk to mom and to the other and let them play whatever they want to play. But let them use the language with your guidance. Don't just meet up and let them do whatever they want to do because it doesn't work really. And on Sunday, maybe you can visit friends or family, right? Could be in person and online. If you happen to have your mom in your home country, or if you have friends who speak Spanish and they're in another state, do a video call or Zoom call or something and let them even listen to you speaking Spanish. Let them see you using the language with somebody else. Okay, so this is a plan that you can follow, and it doesn't have to take more than 10 to 30 minutes a day. And my dog is barking, of course. Now, what happens after you have accomplished that week? You have to make sure you reward their efforts, right? Having a cookie is okay, going to the park, getting them to eat some ice cream together, making a special craft, doing a party dance in the kitchen, giving them some stickers, anything that will help your child to feel recognized for their efforts, because at the beginning I might be like, why again in Spanish? Yes, and because we have done it together, we are going to have a reward for both of you. That is very important. So you can help your child encourage and being excited for the next week, because you're going to do it the next week. Remember, there is a commitment, so it will happen again the following week. So reward both of you, reward yourself, reward your child, and let them know that this is a journey that is just happening. And that's how you start living the language. Now, the phase number 5 is a review, evaluate, and repeat. So what happens if you already have your child's way of learning in place? You have recognized that. Now that you know exactly what's the process for the spoken language you are going to follow, because you know your child's age and stage and how to help them to speak the language, right? Once you have these two things together, then you go to your weekly plan and you do things every day, and then you rinse and repeat. You use the same strategy over and over and over. Today I show you about dinosaurs. Next week, what do you think you can work with? You can work with ducks. Then next week you can work with seasons. Next week you can work with weather. Next thing you can work with, I don't know. Things for a child are endless. So if you go through the same process over and over, right? And you repeat, you evaluate what worked, what he didn't like, what kind of things you have to start tweaking, then go ahead and do it again. So this is the little machine, the little Spanish machine that I have in place in my own house. And that I'm trying to every day or every week do with my students. So remember that I said at the beginning that I went from being a struggling bilingual mom, right? Because I spoke both languages, not knowing exactly how to raise a bilingual child, because I didn't know. When I had my baby, I'm like, oh, I want this, and now how do I do this? I became a thrive and confident mom teaching the language consistently so that I could duplicate the same process with the rest of my children for the years to come. Because learning a language is not a thing of one class or 1 week. It's something that happens year after year after year. And the same techniques I apply with my 14-year-old, with my 10-year-old, I mean 12, it's already 12, gosh, 7 and 5-year-old. I repeat the same process. And as they get older, we learn new things and we apply the same things. But the beautiful thing about this is that when you have done it for the first 5 to 6 years of their life, everything that comes after that, you could say it's a piece of cake because it's already in them. You have already mastered how to do it, and then there is no going back. It's just how it's going to be, and this is how it is. And mommy is going to help you because you know the language, right? You know how to get the new information. You know where to get the new things that you need to, and then you share it with your child. Now, the process I just mapped out for you allowed me to do it 4 times with clear and tangible results. Clear and tangible. So if I was able to do it, if you follow a plan, you can do it too. Now, this is not theory. Um, until now, I only shared this entire process with my one-on-one client, with my one-on-one clients and in regular conversations with friends. But the truth is that the advice on its own does not make things happen if there is not commitment and discipline. And and that's the truth about it. You know, I can say so many things and many people can give so many advices, but if there is no plan and a commitment, sometimes we just don't make them work. Now, I have tested this entire process and I have proven results with my own children. And at this point, I know I can make a greater impact by sharing it with more moms, just like you, which is why I'm showing you the whole step-by-step plan inside of the Spanish at Home Accelerator. I am bringing to the table not just a single class anymore. I will walk you through the whole plan and I will help you and your children with classes included. You know, the whole process with my presence as a teacher included. Now, if you are thinking, okay, I'm ready. Let me see, how do I start this? That sounds like a cool thing, right? Well, if this sounds like you are invited to apply to see if you qualify for a call so you can enroll into the Spanish at Home Accelerator program. Now, this call is approximately between 40 to 45 minutes, and the intention for this call is to understand what part of the journey you are at, and your family is at, what your goals are, and based on that information in your application, we will identify how and if we are a fit to work together inside of our program. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm bringing to the table the plan that you can use to conquer this outcome, but we have to chat and see how I can help you specifically with your journey. Now, how to apply? Ta-da! I will share with you a link in the comments on how you can apply with me for a call, right? Right now, I'm opening the doors to my first group of moms working together with the children with the Spanish Accelerator at home. And you are going to be one of the first ones, the founded families for this program, which is how I'm going to present it from now on. Okay, so let me see if I can go to, oh, here I am. Okay, so I'm going to share the link to the to apply for a phone call for a chat. It's just a chat, you and me. Um, and if you have any questions, this is the time for us to make a connect with us. So I'm going to click. I just added the link in the comments, and I am here. Let me see. Now I can see. Now I can see who is connected. Hola, Rosa Maria is there. Hola, Leslie. I'm so happy. I have been emailing you. We are all ready to make this happen. And there is Brianna. Hi, Brianna. ¿Cómo estás? I'm so happy that you are in as well. There you go, Anita Chapman. ¿Cómo estás? I'm glad you're taking notes. You are part of the whole program as well. Hola, Ceci. ¿Cómo estás, Ceci? Thank you for saying hello. I believe you already answered the questions, but the process is the same for all the kids. Yes, the process is exactly the same for the older kids. The only thing you have to do is we just have to find the right information for them to start learning more Spanish. So you are going to learn, we can have a conversation inside of our program specifically for your older children, because I'm going to start sharing inside of the program how to move forward after 6 years old. I'm going to give you tools to start doing that. So it's the same process. You understand where they are at, you make the commitment with them. The kind of rewards are going to be different because they are older, right? You have to work with what encourage them and what is exciting for them. But the process is the same. I mean, I learned the language when I was in my 20s. I took English when I was little, but it never clicked really until I had to go to college, and then I had to pass, and my whole English courses. Then is when I was like, okay, I need to focus and learn this. Um, but I learned it, so it is possible. It's not like after you are passing the 6 years old, you're not gonna learn it. No, you are still gonna learn it. There are just different things in place to make things happen. The wonderful thing about starting when they are little is that the effort on their part, it's so minimum. You have a greater effort because you are the mom who is doing the whole thing right. But the child, it becomes a second nature, and it's just living the language as it is. So yeah, let me see. I hope that answered your question, Anna. I missed you today. I was supposed to meet with you today this morning. We have to reschedule that. Anybody else has another question? I'm just going to, I'm going to post, perfect, Anita. I'm going to just post the link again. I invite you to just chat with me. Let's get on a phone call. Our first group of moms start in the next 2 weeks, and we are going to be learning how to map out our program for each individual child. We're going to go through the process of understanding and learning what is our child predominance style of learning, and you are going to discover exactly how you are going to start encouraging your child at home. We're going to have goal goal charts for you and for your child. There's a lot of things, little pieces that I have learned as a teacher and as a mom. So you're going to have both together, and you are going to work with both. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to right now. I'm going to let you go, respecting of your time. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'm always a click away. I'm so happy and so glad that you were able to be here. If you know any other mom who can benefit from this information, share it with them, and that's it. I'm gonna be happy to meet you. Okay. Well, take care. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.